What's going on, everybody? Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of the post-game show. Clippers over the Lakers, 103 to 88, the final score. So this one just ended maybe in the last couple of minutes or so. So we'll go a little quicker today. We'll kind of get in, start the post-game show a little bit sooner. I know sometimes I'm going to listen to JJ, sometimes not. Today I'm good. I don't think I got to listen to it. I'm going to have Sammy actually join the show here in a little bit. He's going to listen to JJ. We'll see how many players, and then I'm going to have him kind of come in and he could break down a little bit of what the coach said and everything else. So appreciate you guys tuning into the post game show. Lakers just never in this game. I don't really know what to tell you, and some of this I can make some excuses up for the Lakers. Of course I can. They're missing 3 starters. Luka leaves the game. We'll kind of try to get some details here in the post-game show. I know it's a contusion, so that sounds more like a bruise than anything else, but doesn't play in the second half. And then the Lakers were just really, really god-awful tonight, other than, some stretches there early in the fourth quarter, late in the third quarter, where they went on a little bit of a run, made it a sort of a decent game. Nick Smith Jr. had a chance to cut the deficit down to 6. Another possession. Who was it? Who else got maybe it was Laravia that had, or no, it was LeBron in the corner that had an opportunity to cut it down as well. He missed. Those were kind of the 2 golden opportunities. If the Lakers were going to come back in the game, they were going to need one of those 2 threes to go down, but just wasn't in the cards tonight. It just clearly for the Lakers, just kind of watching them. By the time the first quarter was done, I'll look at this as we let me see here. As we take a look here, I want to see one thing. I'm trying to look here. All right. By the time I find it, I'll find it here in just a second. But I was looking for the first quarter. At the end of the first quarter, where were the Lakers by the time the first quarter was done? I like looking at those stats. Down 13 by the time the first quarter was done. So, I mean, even when Luka was in, it's not like the Lakers were playing great basketball. I don't know how much his injury was bothering him, but Luka was really, really bad in that first half. I thought forced a lot of shots, no ball movement for the Lakers. They start the game down 9-0. Listen, I'm kind of trying to balance here how much this is one of those games where you're missing Rui Hachimura, you're missing Austin Reeves, you're missing DeAndre Ayton, you're missing Gabe Vincent. And let me hold off on the Luka part because Luka was there for the first half. Even with all that, Lakers were down 15 by the time the first half was done and only had 24, 34, 44, 39 points at halftime. So, I mean, the Lakers were just off the entire game, but they did obviously miss some key players, but the energy wasn't there. The shot making wasn't there. Zero clutchness from any of the players. And you got a Clippers team. It's weird. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, not much, but I don't know why. I wasn't crazy about tonight's game. Just kind of had that feeling of, maybe this was going to be a close game. Maybe Lakers would struggle. You don't know. I mean, obviously anything can happen in the course of a game, but just something just gave you that feeling. And the way they started, it was listening to Sammy during his preview video, and Sammy had mentioned something to the effect of, even though the Clippers are as bad as they are, they still got the personnel. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out with the type of players that are on this Clippers team, how the hell do they only have, what is it now, 7 wins on the season? They're 7-21 on the year. How does that happen? You're still kind of trying to figure it out with the Clippers, but a lot of things went into play today. If I point out some of the stats, I mean, we could do this right now because I think there's a lot of stats that we could start looking at here for a quick second. Let me do this here real quick. Let's see here. Some of the key stats. The 3-point shooting was just atrocious. Look at the Lakers offensively today. They shot 39% from the field. They were minus 30 from the 3-point line. The Clippers hit 16 threes. The Lakers were 6 of 38 from the 3-point line. They were starting to put up, I didn't see it because I started doing the post-game show, but they were starting to put up just how bad the 3-point shooting was in comparison to just the Lakers' history since they've had threes in the NBA. And I didn't get to see where exactly it was, but I know during the broadcast they were talking about the Lakers might actually even break this 6 of 38 from the 3-point line. Um, they go 14 of 23 from the 3-point line, while the Clippers go 19 of 20. So you're minus 30 from the 3-point line. You shoot 39% from the field. You miss 9 free throws. You obviously can't win a game like that. And Clippers were giving the Lakers chances. They had 19 turnovers. Clippers are not a good team. They got good personnel. They got on a sheet of paper, they might look good, but that was 3-4 years ago, and a lot of these guys are not the same players. Now, granted, it's not like I said, they have individuals that can go off. Kawhi had 32 tonight, plus 12 rebounds. James Harden had one of those nights where he takes as many shots as possible, is not efficient, 6 of 20 from the field, but he hit a couple of big shots that kind of closed out the game, where it's like, all right, you know what? Maybe the Lakers are trying to make this interesting, but it's not going to be interesting because Harden would hit a big shot or whatever the case is. I thought John Collins was phenomenal for them. You know, one of the big reasons why we got to, there was a point that we got to, let me think here real quick, over the break or over the summer when they traded Norman Powell and they had John Collins in, and it was all right. Well, they also got Bradley Beal, and you were looking at those two players. Obviously, looking back at it now, Norman Powell, and it was just a really, really just a terrible trade for them. But I thought John Collins would do good for the Clippers, and apparently he hasn't done good at all this year. And then look at him tonight: 17 points, 12 rebounds. He did a lot. By the way, Ivica Zubac, he leaves, early in the game and doesn't come back. And, there's another player that we can talk about, and just, again, all the different players that were in, all the different players that were out, obviously keeping that in mind. But the Lakers, just a ton of players that didn't play in this one. And unfortunately for the Lake Show, they just never gave themselves a chance, never gave themselves a shot. All right, I'm going to look at a couple of comments here as we kind of get started with the post-game show. Lakers lose 103-88. I mentioned some of the key stats there. I will get into some of the individual players. A game like this, it gives some of the players an opportunity to step up. It gives other guys a chance to prove, hey, listen, if one guy goes down, I could kind of jump in. Some guys did that. Some guys didn't do that. And the guys that did it, honestly, no surprise. And some of the guys that are fearless when they're out there, again, no surprise. So we'll talk about some of the individual players in a second. Before I do so, let me take a quick look here. I do want to look at some of the comments here as we get started. Interesting fact, Slee, if the season ended today, the Clippers are giving OKC the number 4 overall pick in a stacked NBA draft. The rich get richer. Yeah, and listen, obviously it doesn't really matter where you are, because the Dallas Mavericks ended up with Cooper Flagg. The San Antonio Spurs ended up with Dylan Harper. So it doesn't necessarily go that way, but I know what you're talking about. Just based on the 4 worst teams in the NBA, I want to say Clippers are the 4th, if I'm right on that. I haven't looked at the standings in a second, but I'm just going to assume you're talking about New Orleans. I'm assuming you're talking about who else would be there. The Washington Wizards. Is Charlotte there? I'm just thinking of the 4 worst teams that I always see. Let me take a quick look here. Let's look at the league, the 4 worst teams in the NBA. Oh, wow, Sacramento's making a kid. Look at Sacramento saying, hold my beer. Pelicans, Pacers, Sacramento, Washington, and then the Clippers at 7-21, the 5th worst record in the NBA. All right, let's see what we got here. Bunch of Clipper fans in the chat. That's fine. I mean, they can jump in the chat. I got no problem with that. We can react, and they could give their opinion on the game as well. They could also talk about being one of the worst teams in the NBA and one of the most disappointing franchises to have the expectations that they had coming into the season to where they're sitting today. I don't mind any Clipper fan coming on here and giving their opinion of the game, but I hope they're honest, because their franchise has been absolutely trashed this year, and that's just the honest truth. I thought the Clippers were going to be a lot better. I don't know what the Clippers' future is. I have no idea. I think the Clippers are in a very, very interesting position. They got a lot of old players. I don't think the grass looks very green in the future. They helped create a dynasty in Oklahoma City by giving them Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and all their picks. I mean, I'm happy to talk to any Clipper fan on here, as long as they're honest about where their franchise is going and the disappointing season that they're having. That's just the honest truth. Did they kick the Lakers' ass tonight? They did. The Lakers were awful, and the Clippers took advantage of that. Started the game out 9-0. Lakers couldn't hit a three if their life depended on it. So I got no problem being honest on the broadcast. And again, if there are Clipper fans on here, you can chime in as much as you want. But the one thing you need to do is be honest about your franchise, because it's a train wreck. And before the season even started, where you had the allegations of allegedly trying to circumvent the salary cap, to where they're sitting today, I mean, I can't find a positive story about the Clippers. Again, I will be the first to admit Lakers got their asses kicked tonight and they didn't look good. But I don't know what the Clippers are. I got no idea what that franchise is. And somebody want to tell me where they're going and what direction they're going in, feel free to do so, because I'm not sure where it's going. All right, let's keep going here. I mean, I haven't seen any. I mean, if people want to chime in on this, and again, if you're a Clipper fan, you can tell me as much as you want. I don't really even know what the comp is. If I'm a Clipper fan today, I'm saying, all right, well, we're 7-21, and I'm trying to figure out where the franchise is going. I think that's a better strategy. That's my opinion there. All right, let's see some more here. Vando should get fined every time he takes a three. His shot is broke like my bank account. Could I tell you guys something funny here real quick? Vando had a shot that hit from the side three. It hit the rim and it bounced in. And usually you say, you get a shooter's bounce. You can't say that with Vando. So what do you say? That's not it. He doesn't get – shooters get the opportunity called a shooter's bounce, shooter's touch. I can't say that for Vando. It just went quiet. Like, I was like, I don't think I could say anything here. Sorry, Vando, but it's the truth. I mean, I can't give somebody a shooter's bounce if he's not they're not shooters. My bad, Vando, but we have to hold those for people who can actually consistently shoot the ball. All right, let's keep moving here. I want to start talking about individual players. It's going to be important to talk about some of the individuals in this game. I'll tell you the one positive thing I thought the Lakers tonight. I thought LeBron. Let me tell you why this is an important game. And I said this yesterday when I was doing my regular show. LeBron had 36 tonight. Let me give you LeBron's last couple of games, because it's important to point out. Not for this game. Not for this game. Now, this isn't about this game. But this is about watching LeBron and saying, you know what? LeBron's actually looking better and better every single night. Is it perfect? No. Are there areas of his game that we're never going to see again? Of course. The guy is 40. He's about to turn 41 years old. But from how LeBron started the season to what LeBron has looked like over these last 5-6 games, I mean, he just looks so much better than he did in the past. Let me give you LeBron's last few games, all right? He had the game in Philly where the Lakers ended up winning by 4, and he had big shot after big shot. He had 29, 6, and 7. The game against San Antonio, all right, he was fine. Nothing, no big deal. Lakers lost that game anyways. But he had 19, 15, and 8 and shot 50% from the field. Had 26 against Phoenix. Had 28, 10, and 7 against the Jazz, and then had 36 tonight, like I mentioned. A lot of that having to do with there's no Ayton, there's no Austin Reeves, there's no Luka for the second half. Rui's not there. So, yes, there were some circumstances, but I will say that is one of the things that I did enjoy the most tonight. It's not that, hey, LeBron's stat pad. It's none of that stuff. No. LeBron looks good. He looks healthy. LeBron looks like his legs are back. There were a lot of people in this chat that early in the season when LeBron had just got back, remember he missed the first 14 games and then eventually worked his way back. By the time he got back, there were a lot of people like out. The guy hasn't gone through training camp, preseason, hasn't done anything. With all that in mind, he is slowly working his way back. I think this is his 11th game of the season. I just think he looks a lot better than he did over the first few games. I mean, I remember I said it as well. I'm like, there were games early on where I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen LeBron play as bad. Maybe this is just what LeBron is. No one would be surprised or shocked because that's what it's supposed to be, just based on his age and his mileage and everything else that was there. But as we sit here today, some good news to see some momentum going LeBron's way. They're going to need it. I mean, at the end of the day, no matter what ends up happening with the Lakers, you need obviously as good of a version as LeBron James as you can get. And I think the point for me is some of that is still there, and that's a positive thing. All right, I'm going to wait on a couple of comments here. Let me get into a couple more individual players. Like I mentioned, in a little bit, I'm going to have Sammy come join the show, and he'll kind of break down some of these post-game interviews. We'll hear what JJ had to say. If there's any players that had something to say, we'll get some of the reaction from the locker room and everything else. Okay, so a couple of the other individual players I want to get into real quick. I think in a loss, you got to try to find positives. By the way, hopefully Luka's injury is nothing terrible. I don't think it is because they said contusion. Hopefully this is just something where Luka was being extra cautious, didn't feel right. Give the guy a couple of days off. I heard Mike Trudell talking about how Lakers could be getting some players back by Tuesday. I thought they might get these guys back tonight. Obviously that didn't happen, but hopefully they're able to get at least Ayton back and at least Reeves back. Sounds like Rui's going to be out. They said 3 to 5 days, something along those lines. So I think there's a little bit of time on that. But they obviously got to get some of these players back, especially going up against Phoenix. Phoenix is going to be ready for them on Tuesday. We know that's becoming kind of a fun little rivalry every time those teams play. Rivalry is too dramatic of a word, but it's a fun matchup. Let's put it that way. Some of the other players tonight. Jake LaRavia had 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. I keep saying something about LaRavia and 2 steals. I keep saying something about him, and I'm going to find a couple of positives to talk about in this loss. One of the things I like about Jake LaRavia, let me compare 2 players, okay? Let me compare Jake LaRavia and Dalton Connect. Let me just compare those 2 players real quick. Jake LaRavia finds ways to be in games and to justify his minutes. Okay, you know what? Maybe I'm 0 for 4 from the 3-point line, and I can't hit a freaking 3 if my life depended on it this season, but I'm going to crash the glass. I'm going to get you some rebounds. I'm going to make the right basketball play, and I might get a couple assists. I'm going to be around the basket. I'm going to find a way to get 8, 10, 12 points just because I'm active. Jake LaRavia finds ways to justify his minutes. Now, listen, in a perfect world, I know Jake LaRavia is not playing 37 minutes, and I know JJ Redick has no choice but to play him in a game like this, but he finds ways to be productive. Let me give you another player, Nick Smith Jr. Listen, Nick Smith Jr. didn't shoot all that well, 4 of 11 from the field, 1 of 5 from the 3-point line, but here's what Nick Smith Jr. does. He knows his role when he comes in, and he's fearless. Dalton Connect, on the other hand, a lot of this is mental. For Dalton Connect, I think he feels the pressure. I think Dalton Connect knows, man, if I don't do well today, then JJ's not going to give me more chances, and I'm going to ride the pine. I feel like there's a lot going on upstairs with Dalton Connect. Probably less so with Jake LaRavia, less so with Nick. Nick Smith Jr. doesn't give a flying F. Nick Smith Jr. is like, just put me in the game. I'm gonna go out swinging. I'll swing for the fences, and one of these I'm going to connect with. There's a big difference between some of these younger players that the Lakers have and some of these players that are, obviously getting some opportunities. But this is where guys like this are going to get their chances, and they're either going to make the best of it or they're not. I'm not trying to tell you Jake LaRavia is flawless, because he's definitely not. I think he had the worst plus-minus of either one of these teams. But all right, LaRavia is going to give you everything that he's got. And, obviously you'll take your chances from there. But Jake LaRavia, I mentioned the 12, 11, and 6. Nick Smith Jr. had 9 points, 1 of 5 from the field, did what he could. He had 3 rebounds. Connect only had 2 points, 1 of 3 from the field. They really needed a guy like Dalton Connect tonight. Couldn't get it. He did have 4 rebounds. I'll give him some credit there. Jackson Hayes, 8 points and 5 rebounds. Marcus Smart, just an incredibly awful game from Marcus Smart. I don't know what to make of Marcus Smart on a night in, night out basis. I wish the man took less threes. He was 0 for 9 from the 3-point line. He was 1 for 12 from the field. But maybe in a game like this, they're just telling him, go ahead and take as many shots as you want because we got nobody else out there. So a big reason why the Lakers shot 16% from the 3-point line, Marcus Smart says, I got a lot to do with that. So that gives you, a little bit of an idea here from that perspective of what some of the individual players were doing. There's some other individual players I could talk about as well, which I'm going to in just a second. And we'll go from there. Let's see what we got here. Dude, just admit it. The role players all suck. Luka quit and Reeves needs free throws to put up good stats. Well, I mean, let's define role players. I think the bench is very unreliable, but DeAndre Ayton's technically a role player. I don't think he sucks. Rui Hachimura is a role player. I don't think he sucks as well. I think the more that you're depending on the bench, obviously the Lakers have their issues with their bench. I don't know what to get. I don't know what each player is going to give every single night off the bench, other than maybe Jackson Hayes might be the only player that I have an idea what he's going to give on a night in, night out basis. Maybe Dalton needs a change of scenery, might revive his career. I think everybody's been saying that. And I think it's a very fair observation. And this isn't, us going at him or anything like that. It's just, when you get traded and that trade gets rescinded and you're young and you play for the Lakers, maybe that one's going to be a tough one to recover from. That's kind of what it seems like, at least so far. I hope that's not the case, because even if he's going to get traded, he needs to show some more value, and he hasn't been able to do that so far. So it's not like he's making a case for himself. He hasn't helped himself. If I'm another team out there, I'm trying to get Dalton Connect in a trade, but I'm not giving up much for him. I'm just going to take my chances that a change of scenery would help him. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Thank you for being our official injury attorney of Hoops Talk, the channel, the show, the morning show, the post-game show. Shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. He can help anybody in the state of California if you've been involved in a serious injury or wrongful death case. I think just more importantly, you're in a situation and you need legal representation and you have no idea what to do and where to start. Start with Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. We created a URL, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. Just have him help point you in the right direction is the best way that I can put it. Shout out to our listeners that have gone to the website. Shout out to the listeners that have reached out to me personally and asked for an introduction to Brad Wallace. I appreciate you guys supporting the partners. Again, wallacewins.com/Sliwa. wallacewins.com/Sliwa. So shout out to Brad Wallace and the Wallace Firm. Let's keep rolling here. I'm going to take a look at some more comments. And I think there's, obviously a couple more angles that I want to take here, but I know we want to get into some of these comments. What do you guys make of, let's go back to what I was talking about with LeBron here for a quick second. Does it feel like better than you thought on the LeBron piece of this? Do you feel that whatever your assumption was or what you had watched early on, do you feel like LeBron is kind of starting to get back to that? All right, I'm starting to feel more comfortable, starting to kind of get my legs under me. I'm shooting over 50% for a handful of games here. Do you guys notice that as well? Is that a positive? Because I do think that's one positive to point out. Let's take a look at some of these here. Let's see what we got here. I'll look at some of the LeBron ones here in just a second. Dalton K might be betting on. Okay. Well, if he was betting, then Not helping himself there too. Dalton is worth a bag of peanuts right now. Dalton shot a 4-foot air ball. He looked like me out there. Looked exactly like me out there. All right, let's take a look at a couple more of these here. All right. Okay. We got a few of these comments coming in. I got a super here that I want to read here real quick. Let's see what we got here. Thank you very much for the super brother. The Lakers had strong defensive possessions, but lapses, especially on switches and perimeter looks, swung key runs. That just never win the game. I mean, if we're kind of being honest with everybody, there was no flow to anything that the Lakers had. And listen, at the end of the day, look, they're missing key players. I think what just bothered me more than anything to start that game is it was 9-0 before anything even happened. And then you're playing from behind the entire game. Let me find that stat. There's a new stat that ESPN is doing, which is phenomenal. How about this? You got to love this. Lakers never had a lead this entire game. They were down 22, was the biggest deficit. They never had a lead, playing from behind the entire time. The Los Angeles Clippers had the lead for 99% of the game. 99% of the game. This was a stat I just noticed a couple of games ago. So I kind of like looking at it. It's almost just kind of shows you Lakers were down for most of the game against Utah. I think they only had the lead for 21% of the game, but they ended up winning. And they kind of took over in the fourth quarter. In this game, there was just never any flow. All right, let's get another one in here. Enough with this irrelevant team. Bring on Phoenix. Okay, speaking of which, by the way, thank you very much for being a member for 10 months now. Shout out to you for being a member. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of the comments here, and then I want to see something in regards to the next game that the Lakers have. Yeah, I mean, LeBron putting up 36 should be a big story, but we've just gone right back to shrugging it off. Only LeBron. No, I do think it's a big deal, but I think it's a big deal because he's looking more like himself again. So for the big picture side of things, for the team, it's a big deal. Because if Austin Reeves is healthy and Luka's healthy, which, by the way, both of them are not healthy right now, and LeBron is not just healthy but looking good, all right, now you're looking at your team a little bit differently. So I do think it's a big deal that LeBron had 36, but it's a bigger deal because the way he started the season to where he is today, he does look a lot better. He does look a lot better. Lakers suck. Thank you for your analysis. I appreciate it. I could do a lot with this comment. This helps out the show a ton. Thank you again. Thank you again so much for your contributions to the show. May peace be with you. Let's get another one here. Clippers 7-21. They can't with anyone. See, what are the chances Luka and AR? Listen, I mean, they got Phoenix coming up on Tuesday. Honestly, forget the Christmas game here for a second. Tuesday is going to be a tough game. That's the next game for the Lakers. Tuesday at 6 p.m., Lakers and the Suns. I'm looking forward to this one. I like this game coming up against the Suns. I like this matchup coming up because this has been a really fun matchup all season long. Here's the problem. If Luka and AR aren't playing, you're not winning the game. So as much as I like the matchup, as much as we want to talk about Christmas coming up against Houston, they got a game coming up on Tuesday. And, Luka not playing in the second half of this one, that gives me a little bit of fear. I kind of worry about that. I get concerned about that, well, if he wasn't able to go in this game tonight in the second half, what makes us think that in 2 days he's all set? The good news is AR has been out. DeAndre Ayton has been out. There have been a couple of other players that have been out that hopefully are able to go again against the Phoenix Suns. We'll break down more of that game here in just a second, the Phoenix Suns game, because I do think that we're still got some more that I want to hit on in regards to the Lakers and the Clippers. So we'll do that in just a second. A new partner of ours has joined the show. Very happy about that. HarrisSoCal.com. About anywhere from, let's call it an hour to 2 hours, wherever you are in Southern California, that's how close Harris is to you. They are just a phenomenal property located in Valley Center, which is North San Diego. I know we're all kind of looking for a place to go, or we need some time away, or we want some kind of a vacation. Harris SoCal is a perfect place for one of those staycations. Get in your car. Don't get on a flight where go look at what a headache is to go to an airport. Go look at how much the cost is to go for a round trip ticket somewhere. Get in your car, grab the family, go with a girl, go with your man, go with just some friends, however you guys want to get out there. It's a great place to relax, to get away. They got a phenomenal restaurant, Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen, which I've been at before. One of the best restaurants in Southern California, I'll tell you that right now. They always got shows going on. There's always events going on there. To book your next getaway, HarrisSoCal.com. I'm working on a package with them where listeners of the show will get a chance to kind of get, an exclusive offer. We'll put in a code and everything else. So probably by maybe another couple of weeks, we'll have something like that with Harris Resort. So shout out to Harris Resort, Southern California, for being a part of the show, being a part of the channel. This is a great partnership. That's part of my partnership with 570 and then also the channel here. So shout out to Harris for being a part of it as well. Okay, I did mention a little bit earlier that we're going to do something a little bit different in the post-game show tonight. I'm going to have Sammy come join the show. So Sammy got a chance. Obviously, everybody knows Sammy, who does all our pregame shows, so gets you all ready for every preview video. Listen to it a little bit earlier when he was previewing the Lakers and the Clippers. And one of the things that we'll do with Sammy, he got a chance to listen to JJ Redick. So we'll get a chance to get Sammy on so he could kind of chime in on the game as well. Sammy, what's going on, brother? See if I got you here. There he is. What's up, Sammy? What's up, brother?
My guy. Well, how we doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting night,
Yeah, okay, let's do this because I did want to kind of one of the things that I'm doing lately is I'll try to kind of get started right away. And once I do get started right away, I miss some of the JJ stuff. I know you got a chance to listen to JJ. Can you give us just kind of a quick breakdown of some of the things that JJ said?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised how positive he was after the game. We know JJ can be kind of sharp with the media. He actually got into, he praised the guys for being in a highly competitive game, with the fact that 3 starters out before the game, Luka going out during the game, not having Gabe Vincent, was pretty high on most of them. He kind of got into, for most of the press conference, he said, quote, consistency needs to be addressed, when he was asked about the 5 technical fouls in the last 2 games. He was kind of asked about how with the review, and he was given some explanation about how with the challenge tonight that there were 2 different calls it was kind of confusing. There were 2 different calls in the challenge, so he wasn't able to challenge. He kind of went off on that and then stopped himself short of definitely getting a fine. But it was the press conference was mostly about that, complaining a little bit about technical fouls. And then he did say Luka actually went to him at halftime and said he couldn't play the rest of the game, but did say it was just going to be a contusion. He didn't really know anything. The reporters kind of kept pressing, but didn't really give too much longer on that.
Well, that's a little bit of a concern there, to say that, to have Luka be the one. A lot of times it's going to be the team, or it's going to be, the training staff that says, you know what, let's not take any risk here. If this is bothering you, let's just have you not play. If in this scenario, it's actually Luka telling JJ, I can't go in the second half, that's a little concerning right there.
I was listening to you when you opened the show. It was odd how off he looked the first, what did he play, quarter? I mean, he did really feel like he was trying to get some calls and kind of just doing his, throwing his body kind of at defenders. So hopefully it's all good there. Again, they're calling it a contusion, so hopefully that's not something. But maybe this was a game that Luka thought they could come back and win the second half without him. I don't know if we're looking on the positive side, but yeah, that is a little concerning when a player pulls himself out of a game.
One on this one here real quick. So we're no longer watching post-game interviews. Yeah, I just kind of let me give everyone a quick idea on that. I don't own the rights to, play some of those interviews, so I don't want to take any chances on that. So just very simply put, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. So there's been a few of them now that I've listened to JJ, and then I start my post-game. Sammy was nice enough to, obviously chime in on this one. Okay, so let's kind of get into the for him to praise the Lakers for you're missing a lot of key guys, you're still out there fighting, you're doing everything that you can. I think they went through a stretch there in a run, kind of that third to start of the fourth quarter, where I did appreciate their fight because they could have easily, once they went down 22, they could have mailed it in. It was tough to watch them in the beginning of the game. They're down 9-0. They're always down 10, 12, 14, something like that. But they did go through a stretch where clearly they were, obviously they were playing tough. And frankly, what else is JJ going to say? Is he going to rip the team who's missing 3 starters, a role player in Gabe Vincent, and then Luka in the second half? Like what positive would come out of that for ripping the Lakers? What do you make of? Do you agree with? I did say this, that I thought LeBron getting another 36 tonight, and if you go look at his last 4 or 5 games, it looks better. Just kind of taking 7-8 games ago to where he is today. I think that's important. I think there was early first couple of games he came back. I'm like, that's it. This is going to be LeBron. He's looking a lot more like last year, which is certainly a positive sign.
It was cool to see, if we're looking at the positives of the game, that he was able to, not having Luka and Reeves, those are your 2 ball handler facilitators alongside LeBron. So when those 2, Reeves not playing, Luka goes out, you're kind of wondering, can LeBron do the old LeBron where he can kind of carry the team offensively and get into some action? The Lakers only had 16 assists tonight. It shows you really in the first half, they started moving the ball better in the third and fourth quarter, but it was a lot of, it was a lot of the first quarter was embarrassing with them just standing there dribbling and then throwing something up at the end of the shot clock, thinking it was going to go in. In terms of LeBron, it was neat to see him kind of get going and be able to create his own offense. Because the first couple games, it was a lot more complimentary. It was a lot more Luka and Reeves kind of doing their thing, someone else, and then LeBron was kind of filling in, doing all the other little things. It was nice to see him be an elite scorer. So if we're looking in that regard, yeah, I'm with you. It was cool to see LeBron basically by himself with some pieces helping out, able to have a big scoring night. Unfortunately, he was the only guy that could score.
Yeah, and listen, big picture, that's all. That's the only reason why I like it. I just like it because, if they're going to have any type of success this year down the road, you're going to need – you can't have the LeBron that you had the first couple of games. And the fact that LeBron is starting to look more comfortable, starting to look more when I say he's starting to look more like last season, because I think he had stretches last year where you were still kind of saying to yourself, what the hell? How is this guy still doing it? And you still get that little bit of that vibe. I'm not telling you that it's perfect. I'm not telling you that he's, he doesn't have flaws, because he clearly does. But I'll take these last few games of LeBron at this stage of his career, and you got to hope that if that can continue, that obviously is helpful. What do you make of any of the other players kind of stand out positively or negatively? If you want to go at any of these players, I'm fine to do so as well.
I loved Thiero. I know he played 6 minutes. You look at the box score, you go, he didn't shoot. He had 1 defensive rebound. But watching that game, I was on my couch losing my mind why he wasn't in the game earlier. I heard you earlier kind of talking about Dalton Connect. I saw a lot of the comments. That was tough to see, and it's easy to come on here and pile on Dalton Connect, but Stu said it on the broadcast. He's lost confidence, and when he's air mailing threes, and we know he's doesn't have defensive tools. He's not the fastest. He's only out there to hit threes, and then, he's out there and he's not doing that. I was like, why is Theo not in the game? If you're going to go with a young player who could have some projections, go with the guy who actually can play defense and rebound. That was kind of my thinking. It was cool to see him. I thought he played well. I know Laravia, people are kind of beating him up.
Can I say this real quick? We come back on Laravia, but if Connect can't get PT in a game where, or it's not that he can't get playing time, but if he can't contribute in a game where 3 starters are out and 4 total players are out, and then Luka's out as well, then I don't know when you're going to use him. Like, think about what you just said. You just said that you would have rather have seen Adu Thero get some more opportunities. These are the games where Connect is going to get his opportunity. These are going to be the games that people are going to say, okay, hey, interesting. Connect is hitting some shots. Hey, Connect, listen, if the guy gets enough minutes and he's with the right guys and you look for him. Nope. Connect is playing the same way he does when everybody's healthy or when everybody's injured. It is up here. It definitely is mental. I mean, that's what I would say kind of stands out to me with Connect.
Did you think that was the front office not calling down, but kind of being like, hey, this is a piece that we'd like to move. A lot of people would like to take a young guy who can hit threes. Is this in a game that could be lost? Give him some time and let him kind of develop. Not that they're calling down.
Can I tell you what it is? Honestly, I just think he's starting to get minutes now when it's either he's starting to get minutes that just don't matter, or he's getting minutes because they don't have a choice. So that's a tough position to be in, right? Like if you're getting your opportunities, I'll give you, I don't know if this is the best example. Nick Smith Jr. is being thrown into games because they don't have a choice. But when Nick Smith Jr. is in, I'm not yelling, pull Nick Smith Jr. out of the game. There's this, and he also has this arrogance to him. It's like, why is this guy so confident?
Very free when he plays.
Very free, but that's a good thing, right? Like you'd rather have that than a guy that's tight. And I feel like a lot of times right now, Dalton Connect is way too tight. I don't know what's going to happen to Dalton Connect, but I don't think he's going to be a piece where another team is really looking to get him. I think they're going to take a shot at him, but the value is not there. At least right now, the value is not there.
And I think people have figured out the advanced metrics. What do people want in the NBA? What do the Lakers need at the trade deadline? Why are they linked to Trey Murphy and Keon Ellis and guys like that? Because you need 3-and-D players. Well, Connect doesn't play defense, unfortunately. And then if you look at, he's good when he's stationary and he's set in a corner hitting threes. But him moving off a screen, him doing a moving three, his metrics go way down. And that's just, I think the first, half of last year, they were leaving Connect open because no one knew what to make of him. He was just some rookie from Tennessee that was picked in the, 17th, 19th pick, something like that. And then all of a sudden, kind of getting up in his grill, not making him move off the ball. And he's just not adapting, which sucks because it looks like Connect early on last year had a really high ceiling.
What are you going to say about Laravia?
I should say, I know people are pounding on Laravia with the plus minus, but I got no problem with Laravia. Right. Double digit rebounding, giving effort. And it was a terrible night kind of for everyone. So I feel like Laravia is misplaced. I don't think Laravia was one of the problems with tonight. I agree with you earlier, what you said, Marcus Smart. That was a really brutal game from him. We got into Connect. Basically, I mean, Luka didn't play well the first quarter. It was basically anyone outside of LeBron, Theo. I thought Nick Smith had some moments. I thought Jackson Hayes had a pretty rough game. It was just a bad game.
All right, next game coming up for the Lakers. So they got the Suns coming up on Tuesday, I mentioned. This one is honestly just going to come down to who's healthy, I think. If the Lakers got their guys, then they'll have a shot to win this game. This has become one of the more intriguing matchups for the Lakers all season. I love the matchup against the Suns.
Yeah, it's must-watch TV.
Well, here's the funny thing. I like it because they've had some pretty decent games against them. I mean, the first game in LA, have they played Phoenix three times or 2 times this year?
I thought it was twice, but I can check.
I thought it was twice. I don't know if they played them early in the season, but Obviously, Phoenix punks the Lakers in one game. Dillon Brooks acts like he just won back-to-back NBA championships, is what it is. Twice. Okay, the Lakers come back. They win the last game. They're up 20 plus, barely hold on for the win. Dillon Brooks gets ejected, and their coach is talking about how unfair he thinks it is. The whole thing. Like, there's some good storylines. Mark Williams, DeAndre Ayton used to play for the Suns. I love all the storylines. What we're walking into on Tuesday is, unfortunately, it's going to just come down to, are the Lakers, or are they healthy or are they not healthy? But I'm going to look at Suns right now, where they sit at 15-13. So they've lost. Looks like they've lost a few games now. Let's see what they have here. They lost to the Warriors. They beat the Warriors by 1, then lost to the Warriors. They lost to the Lakers and the Thunder. Beat Minnesota, lost to Houston. So they're playing below 500. I think they're 2-4 in their last 6 games.
The Suns are, I've kind of gotten this in a couple of preview videos when I've done. They're kind of a fun young team, and Jalen Green's only played in, I believe, 2 games this year, and he was kind of supposed to be the selling point. Booker, Jalen Green finally being able to be a number 2 option instead of a number 1, which he was with in Houston. Dillon Brooks, even though none of us like him, he has been better offensively. I'll give him credit for that this season so far. But yeah, it is a fun kind of matchup. It's always been fun when these two teams get together. But and it's an interesting week for the Lakers because you're coming off tonight, which was an ugly game. It was a gross game, but I'm gonna think positive and realize how many guys were out for the Lakers. But the Suns are gonna want some get back. Then you got Houston, which is going to be a great game. The Lakers are actually 2.5-point dogs in that one on Christmas. And then the Kings. So
Houston, and Houston went into Denver tonight and won.
Right. So like this is a couple games here where you certainly would not want to be injured. We're going to see. It sounded like Trudell had the report. Looks like Reeves and Ayton could be good for the Suns game. We'll see on Rui. Luka will figure out here in probably the next day or so. But yeah, not a great time with this schedule this week to be getting hurt.
All right, so Monday night you will have a preview. Hopefully by then we'll have a good idea of what players will be available for the Lakers. I'm not sure if the Suns have any injuries, but Sammy will be on that as well. Thank you for kind of updating us on Coach and that interview. I appreciate you kind of chiming in as well. So preview video coming up Monday night with Sammy. Sammy, thanks for coming on the show.
Alan, you're the best, brother.
All right, buddy. That is Sammy Long right there. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff from Sammy. Yeah, that's helpful. And it's helpful to, if, kind of getting him to listen to that interview and chime in as well, and certainly give his thoughts on the game as well. So next game for the Lakers, they got Tuesday. Like I mentioned, he'll be doing a preview video. Real quick around the NBA, scores from around the NBA, and after this loss, where are the Lakers in the standings? Why don't we just kind of share our I'll share my screen here so you guys can see it as well. We'll look at some of the scores. We will look at the standings. Then we're going to call it a day. We'll call it a day. So Clippers over the Lakers. Obviously, we know that game. Rockets, this is the one I mentioned. Rockets now 17-8 on the season. They beat Denver 115-101. They lose to New Orleans, but they beat the Nuggets. All right. Sixers over the Mavs. Celtics now 17-11. Celtics playing some good ball. I got to give them some credit. Pelicans over the Pacers. Pistons now 22-6. Wizards get their 5th win. Walk into Memphis. Memphis had been playing good ball. Warriors over the Suns. Warriors hovering around 500. Suns a couple games over 500. Magic a 1-point win over the Jazz, and then the Blazers beat the Kings. If we look at the standings, we'll look at this together real quick. This is where the Lakers are. Kind of falling behind a little bit. San Antonio's won 5 in a row. Denver's 20-7. If you guys watched yesterday, Minnesota won. They beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. So the Thunder, I think, now have lost 2 of their last 3 games. Houston 17-8. Minnesota 18-10. Minnesota, I think, playing some pretty good ball as well. They've won 8 of their last 10. So gives everyone a good idea there. All right, I'm going to read a few more comments here, and then we are going to call it a night here. Let's take a look at a couple of the comments. Yeah, that's kind of a surprising one. Injuries for the Lakers will be their Achilles heel. I have Christmas Day tickets. I hope Luka and they are available to play then. Yeah, I'm with you on that. Phenomenal game to go to. Really good matchup to get Houston. Really a good matchup. NBA is losing its credibility with injuries. The fans deserve better than this trash. Yeah, it's weird. The injuries, but you also have load management. Got these guys making crazy amounts of money as well on top of that. So I get it. Okay, couple of quick couple of things here to promote. Monday's the next show. So obviously we'll do the show Monday at 8 a.m. This week, I haven't fully figured it out, but I think Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm definitely doing a show. Thursday on Christmas, I will not, but I will do a post-game show. And then I don't know if I'm going to be doing that one live. I might just be recording a post-game show. And then Friday, not sure yet if I'm going to go on in the morning. Monday, Dave McMenamin's going to join the show. So no show tomorrow, no Laker game tomorrow. Monday morning, Dave McMenamin will be a part of the show. So please tune in for that. And our next show is going to be Monday at 8 a.m. That is all I got, everybody. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Clippers handle the Lakers 103-88. Unfortunately for the Lake show, too many injuries and just not good basketball. They couldn't hit a shot. Their life depended on it. Thank you for being here, whether you watch this live, recorded, on the podcast, iHeartRadio Network, however you get it. I always appreciate you guys being here. Please subscribe to the channel. Would greatly appreciate that. Shout out to Sammy for joining the show as well. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night and enjoy your Sunday.